World War II was the largest conflict in human history, fought across 6 continents and decided not just by armies and generals, but by the weapons they carried. Never before had so many firearms been produced so quickly. Factories in America, Germany, Britain, and the Soviet Union churned out tens of millions of rifles, pistols, submachine guns, and machine guns. These weapons shaped every battle, from the beaches of Normandy to the frozen streets of Stalingrad. Today, we're breaking down the most iconic guns of the Second World War, the ones that defined an era and changed the way nations fight forever.
Let's start with the rifle that General George Patton called the greatest battle implement ever devised, the American M1 Garand. Most soldiers in World War II still carried bolt-action rifles, firing one round at a time before working a bolt by hand. The Garand was different. It was semi-automatic. An 8-round en bloc clip fed the gas-operated rifle, letting a GI fire all 8 shots as fast as he could pull the trigger. When the last round fired, the clip ejected with a distinctive ping. Designed by John Garand, it gave American infantry a massive firepower advantage and was carried from North Africa to the Pacific.
On the other side was the standard weapon of the German Army, the Karabiner 98K. Short for Karabiner 98K Kurz, meaning short carbine. It was a bolt-action rifle descended from the Gewehr 98 of the First World War. It held 5 rounds in an internal magazine and was fed 1 round at a time or by stripper clip. Accurate, reliable, and rugged, the 98K served in every theater the German army fought in. It wasn't fast, but German marksmanship training made it deadly. Later in the war, many were fitted with scopes as sniper rifles, turning ordinary soldiers into silent killers on the Eastern Front. For Britain and the Commonwealth, the rifle was the Lee-Enfield No.4. It was a bolt action, but with a clever twist. Its 10-round magazine held more than any other standard rifle of the war. And a well-trained British soldier could fire the famous Mad Minute, getting off 20 or more aimed shots in 60 seconds. At the Battle of Mons in the First World War, German troops mistakenly believed they faced machine guns. In the Second World War, the Lee-Enfield carried British Tommies through Dunkirk, the deserts of North Africa, and the jungles of Burma. Simple, accurate, and nearly indestructible, it remained in service for decades. The Soviet Union's workhorse was the Mosin-Nagant. Crude, ugly, and cheap to produce, it was exactly what a nation fighting for survival needed. Over 37 million were built, making it one of the most produced rifles in history. It held 5 rounds and used a rugged bolt action that worked even in the brutal Russian winter. The Mosin-Nagant was the rifle of the Siege of Leningrad and the Battle of Stalingrad. In the hands of Soviet snipers like Vasily Zaitsev, it became legendary, picking off German officers 1 shot at a time across the ruined cityscape. Now we move to the submachine gun, and America's contribution was the legendary Thompson. Nicknamed the Tommy gun or Chicago typewriter, it fired .45 caliber pistol rounds from a drum or stick magazine at a blistering 600 rounds per minute. Heavy, expensive, and sometimes hard to control, it was still loved by the troops who carried it. Paratroopers, Rangers, and Marines used the Thompson for close-quarters fighting where a rifle was too slow and too long. It kicked hard and cost the government over $200 apiece early in the war, but its stopping power in the Pacific jungles and European hedgerows was unmatched. Germany's answer was the MP40. Lighter and cheaper than the Thompson, it fired 9mm rounds from a 32-round magazine. Its folding metal stock made it compact, perfect for tank crews and paratroopers. The MP40 had a lower rate of fire, which actually made it easier to control. You'll recognize it in every war movie, that distinctive rattle of German infantry storming a position. While most German soldiers still carried the 98K rifle, squad leaders and assault troops relied on the MP40 to provide suppressive fire and lead attacks at close range. Then there was the Soviet PPSH-41, the weapon that flooded Stalingrad. Designed to be stamped out by the millions, it was simple, reliable, and devastating. Its 71-round drum magazine poured 7mm pistol rounds at 900 rounds per minute, faster than almost anything else on the battlefield. Soviet troops loved it, and German troops feared it so much they often scavenged captured PPSHs for their own use. In the brutal house-to-house fighting of Stalingrad, where ranges were measured in meters and seconds counted, the PPSH was king. It was the sound of the Red Army fighting back. No gun struck more fear than the German MG-42 machine gun. Known to Allied soldiers as Hitler's buzzsaw, it fired up to 1,200 rounds per minute, so fast that the sound of individual shots blurred into a terrifying tear. It was the core of every German infantry squad, which was built entirely around supporting their machine gun. The MG-42 was air-cooled, with a quick-change barrel so it could fire for extended periods without melting. American troops were told that the noise was designed to terrify, and it worked. Even today, modern machine guns are still compared to the standard the MG-42 set in 1942.
Perhaps the most important gun of the war was the one that came too late, the STG-44. The name stands for Sturmgewehr, or assault rifle, a brand new category of weapon it invented. It fired a shortened rifle round, a compromise between the power of a full rifle and the rapid fire of a submachine gun. With a 30-round magazine and selective fire, the STG-44 pointed directly at the future. Hitler was skeptical at first, but once he saw it in action, he personally named it. Germany only built a few 100,000 before the war ended, but every assault rifle since, from the AK-47 to the M16, traces its lineage back to the Sturmgewehr.
Sidearms mattered too. American officers and tank crews carried the Colt M1911, a .45 caliber semi-automatic pistol designed by John Browning and adopted in, as the name suggests, 1911. It was big, powerful, and famously reliable. On the German side, the most recognizable pistol was the Luger P08, with its distinctive articulated toggle action and elegant Art Deco lines. By World War II, the Luger was slowly being replaced by the simpler P38, but soldiers on both sides prized captured Lugers as the ultimate war trophy. These pistols weren't battlefield-deciding weapons, but they were the personal tools of the men who carried them.
World War II was a turning point in the history of firearms. It began with armies still largely equipped with bolt-action rifles from the previous generation and ended with the birth of the assault rifle, the universal machine gun, and mass-produced submachine guns. Millions of these weapons were made, and millions more were captured, copied, and studied in the years that followed. The designs forged in the fires of the Second World War shaped every conflict since, and their echoes can still be heard on battlefields around the world today. That's the story of the guns that won and lost the Second World War.